Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an honest review of the Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable Melting Cream Blush. If you're interested in that, then please keep on watching. I'm rocking a festive little outfit today. So let's go ahead and start with an unboxing first. So the front of the box just says Stay Vulnerable Melting Blush in the shade Nearly Apricot. This breakthrough formula delivers a weightless wash of soft focus color that melts upon contact for a second skin finish. Rare Beauty. And here's the side of the box. And the back says the same thing in French. And the other side. Here's the bottom and the top. It has the shade name there once again, Nearly Apricot. So I was debating between which shade to get, and I ended up choosing Nearly Apricot because for me personally, whenever a shade has an orangey undertone, I find it's always quite flattering on my skin tone. So if you happen to have a similar skin tone as me, it might be worth a trying out orange undertone makeup because it never fails in my experience. So let's go ahead and open it up. The box is this very thin canvas-like paper material, and I like that there's this little lip here to help you open up the top. And when you open it up, it says, "You are rare," which I love. And here's the blush. It says Rare Beauty in gold font on the front, and it's this adorable pebble shape. I absolutely adore the packaging. I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely what sold me on this blush at first. It reminds me a lot of Polly Pockets for all my 90s babes out there. It's just, I couldn't resist because Polly Pocket was one of my favorite 90s toys. And there is the back. And you just open it up like this. And it really reminds me of watercolor paints. I am an illustrator / artist, so this just immediately reminded me of a paint pod. So cute. And then there's just a mirror inside there. And there is a little divot inside the blush. I watched a video that Selena made where she explains that that's actually intentional, as it's like a perfect little divot for your finger to fit into, as this blush was intended to be applied with the fingers, which is quite interesting. So yeah, that's the packaging. Super cute. So without further ado, let's go ahead and try this blush on, shall we? So on this side of my face, I'm going to apply it with my fingertips, and then on this side of my face, I'm going to apply it with a makeup brush. This is the Mineral Powder 45 brush by Sephora. I'm not sure if they still sell it. I think they do, but the bristle quality has changed. I got this many years ago. I think like 11 years ago. All right, here we go. So I'm just taking the color onto my fingertips like this and applying it onto my cheek. And then it just says to rub it. And apparently it's supposed to turn into a powdery formula, which is insane because it just feels so creamy going on. But yeah, I'll say once you start rubbing it, it really does become like a powdery finish, which is blowing my mind. Like, that's so cool that it starts out super creamy and pigmented and comes out as like a powdery finish. That's amazing. I can't say I've ever tried a blush like this before. Just gonna put a little bit more on. And instead this time I'm gonna try tapping it instead of smoothing it out. I'll say first impressions, it is incredibly sheer. It's definitely not the most pigmented blush out there. I know Rare Beauty is famous for their other blush. I'll insert a picture here. I've heard so many things about how that one is incredibly pigmented and the color payoff is insane. You just need like a tiny dot and it goes a long way. This one is definitely more subtle, I'll say. It's not that pigmented. As you can see, I put a decent amount on my finger and it really does disappear into the skin. It's very sheer. And that's a personal preference thing. Either you're going to love that or hate that. I personally am always afraid of putting too much blush on because it can very quickly look very clown-like if you do even just a little bit more than you intended. So I like one that's very buildable, that's quite subtle. It's almost impossible to look clown-like with this consistency because it's so incredibly subtle and sheer, which I personally like. But if you're someone that likes more bold makeup, little goes a long way kind of thing, you probably won't like this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and try the blush on this side of my face now with the brush. Now this is really reminiscent to art class. All right, overall I would say it doesn't make a huge difference if you apply it with a brush versus your fingers, although I will say you can control the product a lot better with your fingers, and it tends to melt into the skin better and just have more color payoff. Most of the product goes into the brush rather than on your face when you're using a brush with this, so that's just something to keep in mind as well. And now, just for funsies, I'm going to try it with a beauty blender as a third comparison to see how this stuff applies. Alright, so like most of my videos, the verdict is that the Beauty Blender applies the best. I just am team Beauty Blender all the way. With brushes, I find the pigment of the product mostly gets stuck in the brush. With fingers, I find it can be a little bit spotty and not that evenly blended. As well, the warmth of my fingertips tends to make it patchy in a lot of ways because it's like reacting and melting the product. Whereas with a Beauty Blender, it's just so smooth and even, and I love the finish. It's definitely the most pigmented when applied with the Beauty Blender as well. So now let's get into the pros and cons of this product. The pros are the packaging is absolutely beautiful. If you were a fan of Polly Pocket or just anything girly, coquette, and feminine, you will absolutely love the packaging. And because it's super small and round and discreet, it fits very easily in a travel makeup bag and a mini bag for touch-ups. It looks beautiful on my vanity and just as a decor piece in general. I like that there is a mirror inside the compact for easy touch-ups. It doesn't clip close, it magnet closes, which makes it very easy to close and open. The shades are pretty universally flattering, especially this one. I like how buildable the coverage is. It's not too heavy, and if you're like me and you worry about looking clown-like or putting a little bit too much blush on, you never have to worry about that almost with this blush because it's so subtle. I think the biggest pro of this product is how unbelievably unique the finish is. It looks very waxy and cream-like inside the pod, and then once it's on your fingertips, it feels very creamy, but as you brush it out, it becomes powder and mattifies. It's incredible. It's like a science experiment happening on your face. I personally have never experienced a blush like this before. I've only ever tried cream blushes and powder blushes, not a soft focus, matte cream, I don't even know. It's like everything all in one. It's so interesting. I think it's worth trying just to experience that. And now on to some of the cons of this product. One of the biggest cons is, I guess this is subjective because this was also one of my pros, but I guess if you like a heavy coverage or a heavy pigmented blush, this is not for you. It's incredibly sheer and light and subtle. Another con is, yeah, similarly, you have to use a lot of product for it to go a long way. I find when you use your fingers, it tends to like take product off of your face and onto your finger, which is not great. If you don't enjoy applying makeup with your fingers, then you might not like this, just because that is the intention, that it's supposed to be applied with fingers. And if you're not a fan of that, then you might not like this. And yeah, overall, I would say I recommend this product. I think it's super unique and so, so beautiful. Overall, I would rate it out of 10, 10 being like a holy grail best blush I've ever tried. I would give it a solid 7. So thank you guys so much for watching this Rare Beauty Melting Blush review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like if it was helpful to you, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It would truly mean the absolute world to me to have you join my cozy little corner here on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!